There are some harsh truths about money in your 20s that I'm going to let you know right now. Okay, this is very important. This is going to set you up for success, not just now, but for decades yet to come. This will impact your entire life. The importance of your 20s is magnificent. If you're 20 or 30, this advice is actually timeless because it's truth. And I just want to give you a unique perspective and just kind of tell you what I think and what I think can benefit you for being in your 20s and what has benefited me and what has set me up for success. My name is Vic. Welcome to Mind Over Money. I've been working in finance for about 5 years. I currently work as a personal banker, but I also spent a lot of time as a sales consultant at a car dealership that also processed all the loans. So I've had very long conversations with everyone, and I provided consulting in many various aspects. I'm not your financial advisor, so please do your own diligence. This is not financial advice, but I want you to just learn and understand, okay? So let's get right into it. Number one is skills. Skills is actually going to generate you more money, right? So you want to avoid that quick money. You actually want to gain skills, whatever that is. You got to think about skills as an investment, and probably one of the best investments you can ever make. You got to develop your skills through habits, and whether that's you're in sales and you're trying to develop your skills with sales and getting to know people, being personable, that is a huge thing that can translate to other people. Other things, talking to other people, talking to women, talking to whoever, interviews, you're trying to sell yourself. Everything in life is a sale. Then you can go into finance, you can learn about financial stuff. You can learn about coding. You can have these different skills that are gonna be, some are soft skills and then some are hard skills, and a soft skill can be like showing up on time, being attentive, but these things do compound. And the more that you hone these skills, think about like you're playing Skyrim, you got a little skill tree, you got to max out every single skill you can, and you're actually going to be rewarded with money. With skills comes titles, with titles comes higher pay, and that's if you're doing that. And then once you have enough skill set, you can start your own business, but it's all through learning through skill. If you can't pick up a mop, you don't know how to mop, you don't know how to keep your house clean to a degree, just know how to manage everything. That's really important. So that's a big thing. Skills are timeless, and they're just going to be compounding and everlasting throughout your entire life, whether that's you just becoming a handyman, saving some money, whether that's you fixing your own car, things like that. It's going to be huge that you can even leverage to make some money. But the thing is, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. You actually want to focus on a few high paying skills, and believe it or not, a lot of these skills are cross contaminated. So my sales might help with my financial sales. That's a very niche market. I might get paid more, especially with the skill set, go into fintech because I know some coding, just things like that is really big. Another thing I want to get into is debt. Debt's keeping you broke. Debt will keep you broke. If you're in debt, it's going to really harm you, whether that's student loans, whether it's a car payment, whether it's credit cards, whether it's personal loans. You know exactly what it is, okay? I don't got to name it. You know exactly what it is, and you got to pay it off, and that's holding you back. That extra $300. Sometimes some people are paying $600 for a car loan. Just your cost of life goes, you can have the man who dies with the most toys win. That's that's a fun thing, but how much do you really need? Maybe you can simplify. Maybe you can work real hard and pay off your debts, because you don't want to be a slave to the lender, and that's really going to hold you back, especially like, why are you investing when you have so and so much of debt? It's good to invest consistently, but we'll get into that in the next one. But debt is horrible. You got to pay it off. I know it sounds cliche, everyone says it, but the math don't lie, and you don't want to be a loser, you want to be a winner. So you want to be collecting interest, not paying it, okay? Let's go into investing. You want to collect interest. You want to collect investments. Starting so early at 20s, it's so much easier to start investing early than to fix it later by investing late, because you have time on your side. Time is your biggest asset. Since we have time, since you're younger than Warren Buffett, you have more time. You're more wealthy than all these people, Zuckerberg. You're more wealthy than Bill Gates. You're more wealthy than all the Saudi princes, because you have time. You're young. You're in your 20s, if not younger if you're watching this video. It's big thing that you have time. It can help you so much. It could ruin you, and that's a big thing, is you just want to make sure you don't find no fast money. You just find a good way to park your money and take it for the long term, okay? So that's a big thing I really wanted to harp on, is that you do have time in the market to make things better, and to invest in not just stocks, invest in gold, invest in silver, invest in what you think can generate a return on income. It's really important that you know what you're investing in and you have a set plan. If you don't have a set plan, you are just gambling. And we are not gamblers, because if you don't gamble, you're a winner every time. This is going to move to the next thing. It's going to be bad habits. Bad habits are actually going to keep you broke. These are things that are going to compound. If you're an alcoholic, it's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your money. It's going to affect your productivity. If you smoke too much pot, it's going to do the same thing. It's good to have limits. It's good to have control over these substances. A big thing is the vapes. It's killing people. It's killing me. I got to quit the vapes. And I'm making that a big deal for me to try to transition off that, not only to save money, but to save my health, because health is wealth, and people need to cut out the gambling, the sports bets. Yes, I hit a parlay every so often. Yes, I do go to the casino and gamble, but I go in with maybe $50, or and hit the penny slots, or maybe play some blackjack only with my friends, Maybe, I just don't want to spend my money, but there's a time and a place, and I managed my money and I saved where I can spend $50 or $100 at the casino, and that's my limit, and that's maybe once every time we go to the MGM, and that's hardly ever, and that's part of my vacation budget. If I know I'm going there, I'll save $100 for there, or wherever we go to gamble or cruise or whatever, you name it. So those are things you need to cut out, because it's going to really add up and it's going to compound and get worse. Same with eating out. Learn to cook at home. Exactly what you're doing and how you're wasting money with, and if you don't know, get a budget, because you'll find out real quick. And you know exactly what it is, and you know how to cut it out and save your money, okay? There's a certain point where you're going to have to, try to penny pinch until you really got it like that. And once you really got it like that, you'll know exactly what to do. But until you're there, you got to think like the 1%, you got to be like that. So then we're going to go into the next one, is your health. Your health is actually really important. I'm one to talk with a cast. I actually just got in a car accident. So health is definitely a priority right now. It's really important that you keep up with your body. You keep up with your health, what you're eating. Maybe do some research on the food you're eating. A lot of people don't really talk about this, but you need to avoid the enriched, the ultra processed. I mean, you got to think about the enriched flour, the bleached flour. That's like in everything. I've been baking my own bread. I know it seems extra. I know it takes a lot of time. I got to buy the yeast. It's hard to find things in the right. I get it. I eat processed foods too, if not ultra processed foods. I had Taco Bell last week. It's good in moderation, but you want to for real just try to eat healthy. Like, I'm only eating whole foods for pretty much 90%, and it's a habit I'm trying to develop to keep my body healthy, to prevent all these diabetes, because all these health risks are going on. If you're a man, you got to make sure you practice retention, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't be a goonie. And you want to make sure you raise your testosterone levels, because it's been declining, and that's through a diet. That's through you working out, keeping your body active, and working out doesn't have to be everything, like, it doesn't have to be lifting, going to a gym. I actually don't have a gym. Now, I'm not saying I'm the most in fit, but I do run a 10K every single year just to make sure, and I run it about an hour. It's nothing to, fun about, but I always have something to train for. I eat well, and I do try to work out at home by doing push-ups, squats, sit-ups, maybe practice some shadow boxing, play with the cat, throw some mice or whatever, make sure he catches it, things like that. But no, for real, Like, you just got to really focus on your health, because that's going to compound too. Because like the end of the story is that every single thing you do, if you do it daily too, that's even the crazier compound. It will compound. And there's your good side and there's your bad side. You want to remove as many bad compounding things and move it to your right. If you suffer with anger, that's going to be another thing. And the last thing is to get emotional intelligence, and to make sure that if you are religious, you get in tune with the spiritual side. Whether you're not a religious or not, I don't want to preach anything. I love I love Jesus Christ, but you just got to focus on something spiritual and make sure, because you can't do this alone. It's going to be anything's possible through God. And that is probably the most important. That's a secret tip. That's for the ones that stay till the end of the video. Thank you for tuning in, listening. I guess we're starting to get the channel to grow a bit. I see a few views coming in. I see a few new fans. Come on, we need our first subscriber. I need one of y'all to sub. I need my first comment too. Come on, y'all just viewing, but y'all ain't join the family. So y'all joining during the Genesis. I appreciate y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.